Good evening. It is Wednesday, December 7th, 2022. Welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board voting meeting. We're going to start with a public hearing, and then we have 4 items or 4 resolutions. So I call this meeting to order, and I ask for our Deputy Town Clerk, Alice Daly, to please do a roll call.
Sure. Councilman Baranowski? Here. Councilman Lombardi?
Here.
Councilwoman McDonough? Here. Councilman Channel?
Here.
Supervisor Kazari?
Here. Would you do the pledge? Yeah. If everyone would please rise, face the flag. Councilman Baranowski will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing, a moment of silence, to recognize and appreciate the young men and women in our armed forces who are serving around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. So for the public comments, if you would like to get up, sir.
Hi, everybody. Charlie Melchner, Mahopac Marina. Nice to see everybody tonight. I had been emailing the town board and the supervisor with a bunch of questions for a while on zoning in the downtown area, particularly the lake, and I hadn't gotten many answers yet. I think just one email back, and I was hoping to maybe we could, I know tonight we're not going to talk about it, but I could ask for some kind of answers on that sooner than later because I'm trying to do research and find out what's happening with that. So if everybody hasn't seen it or I have to email anybody else, I would gladly do that. But I'm hoping to get some answers at some point to some of my emails because I think a couple of them are months old now for the things I've been asking. But the real reason I'm up here tonight is because of my concern of the advice and the information that the town board is getting on Lake Mahopac. I don't know if you were aware, but there was a Lake Mahopac Park District Association meeting a little over a week ago here held. And at that meeting, it turned into real chaos because my dad was recording the meeting so that we could go ahead and see what was going on during it. And I have a lot of people asking me information about it. I tell them they can go to the website, they can contact, but they seem to want to ask me questions. And we recorded it, and the chairperson, Mr. Spain, I think it was Compton Spain, went pretty crazy and started yelling and screaming at everybody and moved the meeting out. And it just seemed very unprofessional and not the way we want to be represented as far as I'm concerned, Lake Mahopac. We've also had numerous people that have reached out to the Lake Mahopac Park District Association asking for minutes or information that's been going on with this organization that the town board actually condones or gives some recognition to and shows on their website. And every time someone that I know, which has been multiple people, dozens of them, have asked for information, if they get a reply, it says to go ahead and to reach out to our supervisor for it or to reach out to Compton Spain and ask him for it. And it's also told us that there have been no meetings for any of the meetings that have ever been held since he's taken the chair position. I just wanted to know, how do you guys feel about that? And I know I feel terrible about the idea that I have to get up here and talk about this, but honestly, it's our lake. It's what's going on with it. I believe you're being influenced and given information by 1 or 2 people. And truthfully, I don't know if you're aware of it, but these people just recently sued the town, myself, and the Office of General Services. Everybody know that, the very people? And we also, over a year ago, gave them permission to hire an outside firm to look into the stuff that they're suing the town over, suing me over and everybody else, and now are going after the lakefront owners of around the lake, the very people they're supposed to be representing. The chairperson sued the town and stuff over those things and is, I believe, is giving information to you guys on informing you about what's going on with the lake. And there just seems to be no transparency. And in my opinion, when I sit in those chairs right there to come for a meeting like that, and I watch the person start yelling and screaming and then threatening people in the room, and fights are almost breaking out over just the fact that a videotape, and it wasn't me, any of those things that was going on with. We were only trying to videotape the information to know because we can't get it any other way. I feel really concerned about that. If you're all, I don't know if you're aware or not, I sent in an email to the Lake Mahopac Park District Association volunteering to either be on the board or to help or to do something along with it. I also sent an email to you, Mr. Supervisor, saying that I would also volunteer or ask to be appointed to or elected to or help find the perfect people to do that, or someone better, which I don't think is going to be that hard to do, someone to represent it. Has anybody seen the actual video that I had? I had posted it online for some people to see, but anybody see that video of the chairperson yelling and screaming and closing the meeting? No, nobody wants to say if they saw it or not.
Somebody, I saw something, but it was so little.
Right,
I couldn't
right.
really-
Well, in any case, it was terrible. It was terrible. And my concern is that you have someone giving you information, and in my opinion, this is a critical time with us going through this zoning in downtown. Now, I know we're supposedly putting off the next public hearing until next year after the planning board, God help them, that they have to decipher through this. But I've still not got answers to where we got a lot of this information from. Who said 4 foot wide as opposed to a 6 foot wide would solve overcrowding on the lake? Heck, I've got a lot of questions that I've been emailing, and honestly, I respect everybody here, and I thank you all for the hard work you do. But I'm getting frustrated that I can't get some answers just on those things. And if we're afraid to answer or to tell someone what's going on or who's doing it, then I'm really upset. And right now, I'm tired of being bullied and pushed around by people in this town that think they can do whatever they want and taking over organizations and taking out good people that are there. And in my opinion, we need to really look at what's going on. And this is one place that I have a small amount of expertise and knowledge where I'm willing to help. And I'll bet you will find dozens of people that are way more qualified than me that would go ahead and volunteer to help to protect and take care of our lake and to know that we're doing the right things with it. That's all I have to say. I hope I can get some answers from you guys. I hope that the information I gave you tonight is something you can all look into. And if anybody needs any more information or wants to know what I'm talking about and you want to talk to me, my phone number is 845-628-6550. I'm there almost every single day. You can call, you can text me at mahopacmarina@gmail.com. I will gladly give you any information you want, share with you anything I see, and just factual information for what I have. And that's it. So if I don't see everybody, have a wonderful Christmas, happy holidays. Thank you for your time. I appreciate everything.
Thank
All
you,
right?
Charlie.
Thank you.
So I talked to Ken yesterday, or
Yeah.
his wife. No, this morning. I talked to him this morning.
Uh-huh.
They still have a couple of boats in. I know you don't have any left in.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her to have Ken call me when he's ready, that we can start letting the water out. I figured you're probably about the same thing, a week or two?
I'm good.
Now-
I'm pretty much good, but I think that we should probably talk about that just based on, do we have any idea? Because we're still really low. So much so that I don't know how much more we need to lower it,
all right.
lower it right now. I'm not saying we don't need to, because there's reasons why we lower, whether it's going to be to kill off the weeds,
Well,
people to work on.
save the docks, too.
Right,
so
there is a certain part of that
the
as
ice,
well.
yeah.
But we should really get together, and I'd be more than happy to meet with you and Kenny to
Yeah.
talk about how much, because one of the big things is that we can't go through another year like we did last year with everything being so low. It was really, really difficult. And
So
we
I
have
left
time.
my cell number, I thought he had it, I left it with his wife, so as soon as he calls me, I'll call you.
Okay.
And we'll sit down, we'll get the engineer, and we'll figure it out.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. And we have time, just so you know, we got plenty of time. We're not even close to being where we need to make a big decision. We could wait further before we open the gates, because the lake goes down so quickly. We could wait even further and look a little bit further into the weather. If we're not looking like we're going to get a lot of snow.
I'm just afraid that the ice comes quick, and then, but we'll talk to Rich about that
Yeah,
and see.
okay. All right, and like I said, thank you, everybody.
We can open it now and close it sooner versus the middle of March, which is what we normally do.
Yeah.
So we can open it, lower it for the cold weather in January, February, and then do March 1st versus the end of
All right, so we'll sit down and have a meeting, and we'll figure it out.
I don't know what your mark is for lowering it to. I don't know what you decide on how low it is or what we are talking about, but maybe it's a good idea that we all look collectively at it, which I'm willing to help with that if you
Yeah,
want.
we'll go do that. We'll go out, the four of us, and look
I think
at-
we're probably at the low mark now, what we would normally go for the winter. We're pretty darn close to that right now.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I think you are at that level. I think you're
Yeah,
pretty
I
low
don't-
right
I
now.
don't, so my opinion is we probably, once again, just my part of it,
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to open it. And if we got a mass amount of rain or snow, we could still crack it open and it loses, I forget, an inch or so a day or something.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 inches a day.
Yeah.
All right, so-
Well, that's when it's at top. When it's low, it's less
So
than that.
next week, we'll get together, the four of
Yeah,
us, and
I'm
we'll
good.
talk
Well,
about
I'm
it.
around
Yeah.
all the time, so.
Thank you.
Okay, but thank you again, everyone.
Thank you. So we have a public hearing to hear objections to assessment rolls for the operation and maintenance of improvements of the garbage, sewer, and water districts for fiscal year 2023. We read it first, right?
Sure. Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, pursuant to Town Law, Section 202A, will conduct a public hearing at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, on Wednesday, December 7th, 2022, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter that evening as possible, for the following purpose: to consider the 2023 tentative assessment rolls for Carmel Sewer Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and extensions thereto, as well as the Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, and extensions thereto, as well as the Town of Carmel Garbage District. Be it further noticed that the 2023 tentative assessment rolls may be inspected at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, during normal business hours. At said public hearing, all interested persons shall be heard on the subject thereof. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the public hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the Town Clerk. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Ann Spofford, Town Clerk.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Lombardi, seconded by Councilman McDonough. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is open. If anyone remaining in the office in the audience wants to get up? No? Okay, since no one remaining in the audience would like to speak on this subject, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Seconded by Shannell, Baranowski, and McDonough. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First thing is,
Your reading was longer than the hearing.
can I get a motion to accept the minutes from October 19th and November 2nd, 2022? Shannell, and seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone voted aye. So our first resolution is a resolution authorizing budget revisions, number 2022-05. Councilman Lombardi, would you?
Sure. Whereas the Town Controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, had reviewed the proposed budget revisions for the period ending in October 31, 2022, with the Town Board, which are detailed and explained on the attached budget revision schedule 2022-05, and now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and ratifies the final budget modifications/revisions for the period ending October 31, 2022, as shown itemized on Schedule 2022-05, which is attached hereto, incorporated herein, and made part thereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Mrs. Daly, would you do a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, Resolution 1 passed. Our second resolution is accepting proposal for recording of meetings for the Town of Carmel. That's RFP number S 2022-01.
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Chief of Staff Ann Pasquarelli, hereby accepts the proposal of 10 Green Media, Mahopac, New York, for the video recording of meetings to be held at Town of Carmel Town Hall and off-site in accordance with the proposal dated November 2nd, 2022. Be it further resolved that said services are hereby authorized for a 5-year period at an annual cost not to exceed $24,000 for years 2023, 2024, and 2025, together with 2 one-year options in favor of the Town of Carmel for 2026 and 2027 at respective costs not to exceed $25,000 annually, And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates in form acceptable to the town council, Town Supervisor Michael Kazari is hereby authorized to execute any and all necessary contract documentation to effect acceptance of this proposal upon the terms authorized herein. And be it further resolved that Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget modifications required to fund the authorization contained within the resolution. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 2 passed. The third resolution is authorizing vehicle equipment installation, Town of Carmel Police Department. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon request and recommendation, Town of Carmel Chief of Police Anthony Hoffman, in his memo dated November 16th, 2022, hereby authorizes the installation of emergency equipment within 2 Town of Carmel police vehicles to RFC Emergency Lighting and Services, LLC, Briarcliff Manor, New York, in the amount of $13,709.66, as shown on invoices dated November 8, 2022, and be it further resolved that Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget modifications required to fund the authorization contained in this resolution. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Would you do a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 3 passed. Fourth resolution, authorizing exercise of option to extend contract Carmel Garbage District Contract C-282, collection of refuse, garbage, recyclable materials, and bulk collection. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read that?
Sure. Whereas the town of Carmel has previously entered into a contract for the collection of refuse, garbage, recyclable material, and bulk collection with AAA Carting and Rubbish Removal, Inc., dated December 13th, 2021, contract C-282. And whereas the aforesaid contract vested in the town of Carmel the unilateral right to extend said contract for 2 additional one-year periods, commencing January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, and January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, respectively. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Carmel Town Board hereby exercises of the Town of Carmel's right to extend the aforesaid contract for the both of the renewal periods authorized under said contract, such extension thereby being exercised through and including December 31st, 2024. Be it further resolved that written notice of this exercise of the rights referenced hereunder shall be provided to AAA Carting and Rubbish Removal, Inc. by the Town of Carmel Engineering Department, together with a certified copy of this resolution. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Baranowski. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution 4 passed. Today is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. I attended the memorial ceremony at the VFW in Mahopac 5491. Ray Callahan put together a touching memorial honoring the 2,403 Americans that were killed that tragic morning. Also, we attended the holiday on the lake on Saturday. The parade of lights, again, was spectacular. We all commend the Carmel Civic Association for doing a great job again this year. I have to thank the Highway Department for picking up the generator that we purchased from the Carmel Volunteer Fire Department, because Deputy Highway Superintendent Martin said he wouldn't do anything else unless we publicly thanked him, so thank you, Mike. And Sunday, December 18th at 4 o'clock, there will be the menorah lighting up on the shores of Lake Oneida. Those are all my things that I have comment-wise.
Nothing.
Nothing here.
Nothing?
Covered them all.
Covered them all. All right. So can I get a motion to close the voting meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So Baranowski, motion, McDonough, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And a motion to open the public work session, guys.
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Thank you very much, Alice. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Alice, thank you.
Thank you, Alice.
Good night.
All right, so I direct all the board members to review the minutes that Ann Spofford, our town clerk, sent us from November 9th and November 16th, 2022 meetings. Our first item on the work session is actually from the highway superintendent, Michael Simone. Consider request to award bids for miscellaneous highway materials and supplies. On the 23rd of November, the highway superintendent sent the board this memo. He's recommending the following bids be awarded as follows: washed sand, Red Wing Properties, delivered $23 per ton. Winter Mix, Package Pavement Company, $131 per ton. Guide rails, complete layout and installation per New York State DOT specification. He goes through galvanized, cordon, and timber. Galvanized, those prices are all on there. Greg left. We don't have to read all the prices, no. So if anybody has questions about what his bid pricing and what he wants, we can discuss that at a later date. Okay? Our second item is from Mike Carnazza, the building inspector, return of a permit fee for construction, 11 Albano Ridge, Carmel, tax map number 55.14-1-26.232. His memo dated the 29th of November. Please be advised, the owner of the above property was issued a permit for a one-family dwelling. Because of the high lumber prices, etc., they decided not to build the house. The fee was $5,525.88, and the owner requested return of their permit fee. And he writes the name of the homeowner on Hillendale Road. And he attached the building permit. If anybody has discussion on that? Okay, and our third item is the technology, it's Ian. Yeah, so,
Good evening, Board. As you know, we do our annual technology upgrades annually, and due to the shortage of the merchandise and equipment, we're just completing our 2022 upgrades. As you can see with the chart Marion prepared, our budget starts with $70,000. She's been doing an excellent job in circulating and moving our equipment to keep it current and up to date. To finalize 2022 upgrades, you'll see that the desktop placements for the different departments, recreation, maintenance, tax receiver, engineering, supervisor, police, the special patrol officer, building, and the assessor. They're all going to get an upgrade, and that comes to $22,923.10. There won't be any infrastructure upgrades for the remainder of this year because we're looking at using the cloud for our backup as opposed to buying a server. One of the servers is actually completing its lifespan, so we're looking into our vendors using the cloud service through our vendors, and it's going to be more cost efficient for 2023. So the total, what we're requesting that the board authorize is the upgrades for $22,923.10 for 2022. you'll see that with the breakdowns, we'll still have, by the end of the year for 2022, from the leftover of 2021, we'll have $77,031 in the line for next year's budget upgrades. So I ask for the board for approval.
Thank you. Anybody have questions about that? Thank you. Thank you, Chief of Staff.
One question, how much did we save for not using a new server, going to the cloud instead? That had to
They could be
considered a
very
savings.
costly,
Very
and
costly.
they're going, as with everything else with supply and demand, the prices are going higher. So we're, when we were audited by the Office of the State Controller, that was one of their recommendations, is to look into the cloud. It's actually more security, it's
That's
more
good.
beneficial as far as security and keeping things in gear.
Excellent. Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good move, thanks.
So our fourth item is Richard Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer. Consider request to authorize change order number 1 to the contract C280 Town Hall improvements.
Good evening,
Rich?
board members. As Supervisor Kazari mentioned, this is for C-280, which are it's a grant that the town had received to have infrastructure improvements within the building for security measures. So in the future, we're going to be using key fobs to get in here. It will be probably rolled out tomorrow. The next day, there was an issue with one of the ports. But in this case, the contractor is almost finished. There are 3 proposals that they gave us. The 3 proposals for this change order was an additional door within the police department that was needed. That wasn't part of the original scope of work. A latch retraction for these 2 outer doors that would coincide with the handicap accessing. And also up front here, an intercom and a panic button. Originally, the only way for people to get in were they would have to be buzzed in through Lori, and we wanted to have it set up where it was going to be Lori and the SPO to do it. So we had received these proposals, and in the amount of $5,860, 3 different amounts. Procurement policy, we authorized these works separately because they were under the threshold of $3,000, which requires no competitive bidding. The original contract was $46,850 and was approved by the town board. It should be noted the authorizing resolution was for $46,800. That needs to be tweaked. Total adjusted contract amount now will be $52,710. As I mentioned, we received a grant from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for $50,000. The out-of-cost pocket for the town will be $2,710. So I recommend that we move forward with these 3 improvements as part of this project.
Anybody have questions?
No?
All right, so our 5th item is Richard Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer. Consider request to authorize emergency repair, sand filter boiler replacement, Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
So the operators, Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 2, reported that the boiler at the sand filter building has failed and is beyond repair. They received a quote from Suco Fuels to replace the unit. The failed unit created an emergency condition, and this department authorized Suco to replace the unit. The current boiler is still connected. It's actually in the process. It's already been removed, and the new one is being installed. The unit failure was caused due to age, and replacement parts cannot be located. We conducted an investigation, Marvara and I, and verified this assessment. The quote provided for the removal of the failed boiler, supply and install a new boiler and associated controls. The new boiler has capability of being converted to liquid propane gas, which is currently being used at the microfiltration building, which is right across from the sand filter building in Carmel Sewer District 2. Suco is a licensed contractor for Putnam County, and once we get the warranty information, I'll provide it to the board. There are sufficient funds in Carmel Sewer District 2 to do this work, and we request the board to authorize the project as an emergency at the quoted price of $57,370. This particular unit, just so the board is aware, is a 600,000 BTU unit, or 670,000 BTU unit. So we're not talking a regular home boiler here. We're talking a serious piece of equipment that is used to warm a large building, basically a warehouse building that has equipment within it that needs to be warmed. So
So question, did you say there's a warranty on it?
I'm going to get the warranty information for the new boiler. I don't have
Oh,
it
for
with
the
me. I
new,
did
so
not
the old one
provide.
didn't have any
The
warranty
one's
on it?
old.
The old one
So-
is from 1997.
Okay.
Or probably before that.
And they couldn't get parts.
So, yeah, any warranty, that we're out of any warranty. You can't even get parts for that unit anymore.
So at one point, do we see this old equipment and budget for it in our ongoing budget so that we're prepared when it fails, we have the money available?
So we
I mean,
do have
these
some.
these old, you know, we keep coming across the emergency repairs for equipment that's old and run down. My question is, how come we don't prepare for them to break and have money budgeted for them in advance instead of doing an emergency repair?
Well, we are doing that. We're finalizing the asset management program within Sewer District 2,
Okay.
and we'll be able to forecast that moving forward. We are aware of parts that we are savings for things that we've talked about with that. The boiler was just, it
Happens.
has, it
Yeah.
died on us, so to speak, so,
You know, if we can do that, I think that would be very beneficial for the districts.
It will, but, just as the board should be aware, Sewer District 2 is close to its useful life expectancy on the grand scheme of things. So, in essence, every part there that hasn't been replaced probably needs to be replaced or will need to be replaced going forward. So, it's a 30-year-old system, a 30-plus-year-old system right now. So,
Right.
you're at that useful life expectancy for that system.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And our sixth item, again, Richard Friends, ZDPE Town Engineer, consider request to authorize proposal for additional borings, Lake Hassie Dam Phase 3.
So as the board is aware, the engineering department solicited proposals from engineering firms to prepare bid documents, specs, and construction admin for Lake Cassie and Tea Kettle Dam rehab. The board authorized Weston and Sampson to perform this work. This work is required to meet New York State DEC requirements for dam safety. Phase 1 of the project included tree cutting, vegetation removal, and upstream and downstream faces of the dams. And at that time, Weston and Sampson provided a status summary and next steps for Phase 2. Phase 2, Weston and Sampson was authorized to develop an engineering assessment, or a supplemental one, because we already had one performed, which included the clearing of the pipes, hydraulic analysis of the grades, chain link fence systems for primary spillway, a whole bunch of things that were requested as part of the EA. The final supplemental engineering reports for the dams have been provided by Weston and Sampson. As part of the attached, which was provided to Lake Cassie Engineering Assessment Report, W&S recommends the need for additional borings to assess the liquefaction and slope stability of the dam. This is based on, just so the board is aware, when they do this assessment, they put it into a mathematical model, and they use just generic soil conditions. They don't use actual physical soil conditions that are in there. And what happened when they did this particular dam, if there is to be seismic activity, the soils could potentially liquefy and the dam can fail, so it would become unstable. Then, if we get real data, which we will with these borings, we'll be able to have better data and make sure that we don't have this liquefaction, or confirm that that is the case or not the case. That is the purpose behind this. Sorry about that. So, if we don't do anything, the recommended proposal that came up was to put a dam in front of the dam, which is this whole, it was a couple of $1 million worth of work. If we are to get this boring and it proves out that the dam is stable, then we wouldn't have to do these particular improvements. We'd have to do different improvements to make it work. So Weston and Sampson provided a proposal in the amount of $43,000 to conduct these additional borings and provide a supplement to the engineering assessment report, and there are sufficient funds in the budget for this work. The board should note that Phase 3 of the project will entail the development of the final design bids, specification, and documents for these dams. Phase 3 has not been funded yet and will need to be bonded going forward in the future. So, that's what I got. There's a lot to bite off on this one, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there's questions.
There is.
Go ahead, shoot.
I know, there's just so much in it. So, from what I understand, they're gonna do the additional borings,
Right.
and that will help them understand if it would fail, should there be
Earthquake.
earthquake.
So
or
right now,
something like that.
yeah, correct, sorry. I cut you off.
But if there's an earthquake or something right now with the borings that they've already done, that's not sufficient enough?
They're saying that there's a potential for the soil to what would be called liquefying. So
Like
when
right
it shakes
now.
with an earthquake, well, that's what based on, not boring data. They only have limited boring data, so they want to get additional boring data. The boring data that they're going to collect is going to confirm the soil types that are there and identify if they have the potential to do that liquefaction or not. The way the data, they use just basic generic data out of a manual.
Right.
You know, so there's soil maps that are everywhere. They use that data to get to where they are now. Now they're gonna go and drill a hole and say, okay, here's the data that we have. Here's what the soils really are. And yes, it has that potential, or no, it doesn't.
So when they get the results back from the additional boring to the results that they have now, is the outcome of what they're going to plan on doing to the dam going to be different?
If nothing changes, they're gonna have to come, it may stay the same. If it changes where it's more the stability is better, then it would be a completely different solution to what we'd have to do. A lot cheaper too than what they're proposing right now.
How long would the dam be
Okay.
that they're gonna build? If they had to build a dam within, you were talking about, like, they build a dam within a dam if they had to.
I still
Basically-
can't hear you, I
basi-
apologize.
Basically, they would build a dam within a dam. They'd build a
Well,
dam
yeah,
wall
so what they
before
were
the...
doing is
They're gonna put
recommending to
support-
put in sheet
supports.
piling, you know, or basically a bulkhead in front of the dam.
Right.
And that's just, to
Very
me, it's
costly.
insane, but
Yeah,
it
we're-
is what it
we're-
is. It's
we're
what the
opposed
state
to that.
criteria, the state criteria call for these things to be done this way,
Right.
and that is the way it goes. So hopefully, that's the intention, is that the borings will yield the data that can be put back into the model and show that this wouldn't happen. You know, what, the ungodly fact that we would have seismic activity. Yeah, we have earthquakes here, but how often are we having them, right? But they do occur. So that's, the state is guiding those guidelines, right? They're giving us
Okay.
those guidelines, saying, here's what you need to do. Here's what happens. There's seismic activity. You have this type of soil. This is what can happen. It can mess up the stability of the dam. That's where you have to think about it and worry about it.
Great,
So-
thanks, Rich.
And the numbers that we have, what they have, what marginally on the wrong side of liquefaction. That's why they recommended, if it was night and day, then they would never have suggested this. The numbers are close, where if we got real data, we'd be able to, they would tweak the numbers enough, not that they're tweaking numbers, but it would tweak the analysis enough where we wouldn't need to worry about the stability of the dam.
All right.
And if you look historically, the dam is still standing after all these years, right? But, you know, I'm not a dam engineer, and these guys are telling us what needs to be done, so.
Okay.
Rich, just out of curiosity, do they worry about the Croton Falls Dam?
Oh, yeah, I mean.
That's a real dam, right?
That's a real dam with lots of water behind it. Yeah, I mean, the New York City DEP, that's a high-risk dam. It's a sea-level dam. Ours is a B-level dam here at Cassie. So, yeah, they worry about it. The city takes care of that. And the state's on top of them. They go through, they do engineering assessments. That whole thing, you got Croton, you got West Branch over here. You have the auxiliary dams. That's all the cities.
Just an additional question, I mean, is that basically the standard for dams? They have to be earthquake, not proof, but, I
Right,
mean,
but the difference.
resistant is the right word?
Yeah, it has to be. And the criteria changes even though the dams were built before the criteria were there, right? So,
Okay.
also the difference between like the Croton Falls Dam and the West Branch Auxiliary and West Branch, they're masonry dams, right? And ours is an earthen dam, so.
Okay.
So Greg gave me the side eye. I knew what you were giving me the side eye for.
Or mortar or earth.
Yeah, but, you know, so the difference is, you know, so, yeah, those dams are built a hell of a lot different
I
than
got
ours.
it. So this standard will be applied to Lake Mahopac and Tea Kettle at some level?
Already.
It already has been.
It has
And
been,
the
okay.
Tea Kettle dams have, so the assessment was done on all the dams, all 4 of those dams that the town owns and operates. And in this case, Cassie has a little issue with the way the soils are over there. There is seepage at Cassie, we've talked about that. Hopefully, it would just be, in essence, injecting bentonite within the dam itself, would stop the seepage, would stabilize it a little better. But we can't just go and do that now because of this other issue with the soils, so.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Very
problem.
helpful.
And Steve, it's a 150-year flood, or 500-year flood that they look at. They look at
Right. It's
Such-
150, you have to be able to bypass it, so.
such ridiculous standards.
We all
It's
need to
just,
go to Dan school.
no, we don't want to go to Dan. And
Just on this thought alone, the Mayapack the work being done for the engineering work for the Lake Mahopac Dam will be completed by the end of the year. We're still on track with regards to the consent decree. I was speaking to the consulting engineer earlier today regarding that. I knew I was coming here tonight, and I figured I'd just keep you abreast of it. They're submitting something for me to review early next week, and they're giving permit information that's due by the end of the year. The permit information includes not only the permits that are needed, but the design, what the solutions are for the dam. And the state will then approve it. I will be coming back to you guys next year, similar to what we have to do for the Tea Kettle Dams in Cassie, is we have to go out, we have to do a design on the design will be done for Mahopac, but the other three, a design will need to be done for the final solutions there on those dams to fix them. We gotta go out to bond, we gotta go out, that whole process will go through once again. For those three dams and for Mahopac, we're gonna need to find the funding to do the improvements. It shouldn't be a lot of money for Mahopac, but every nickel counts, right, so.
And we'll continue to put grants in.
Yep.
And do you want to mention to them the backstop of the bike path? For Cassie, that's really not
It's funny.
officially a
Right.
backstop, but it
I
is.
mentioned that to the gentleman, the consultant from Schnabel today. I said, we have a backup dam, it's the bike path, right? Cassie has a backup dam, but he goes, yeah, but it's not built to be a dam, it wasn't built to do that. So, but yes, it would be able to hold and retain water, and the water would follow the same path it would now. So there is a redundancy there, but it wasn't designed as a redundancy. But
That's right across the street.
the toe of the Cassie Dam on the downstream end is 50 feet away from the toe of the downstream, or the toe of the upstream slope of the bike path. I mean, it's there, so it's separated by wetness, of course, but they are close to each other, right next to each other, and it's higher too.
Yeah.
Elevation
And it's black
wise, it's
tile.
higher, so.
So our last item is professional, it's R 2020-001, Professional Planning Consultant Services Renewal Recommendation.
So as the board is aware, as Supervisor Kazari mentioned, this is for the professional consulting services. RFPs were solicited in January of '20. The contract was awarded to Cleary Consulting. The contract term was January 1st, '21 to December 31st, '21, with unilateral options on the part of the town to extend for 2 additional one-year periods, '22 and '23. Provided a copy of the 2016 memo requesting award. Cleary Consultant has adequately serviced the Town of Carmel's Planning Board. We therefore recommend that the board exercise the option to renew the contract commencing January 1st, 2023 for a period of 1 year. This will need to go back out for proposal for next year. So we'll be putting that out again sometime next year. Because next year's the last year for the unilateral option.
All right, and Rich, it still continues with him having to review the master plan, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That was part of his original proposal. It was part of our original request for proposal and the response to the proposal.
So it's carrying over. I just want to make sure.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rich. We're all smarter for that. So we have 3 items of litigation and a contractual, maintenance contractual item to discuss in executive session, so we will be adjourning from executive session. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and, oh, we have one more. Oh, all right, so we're coming back to 14th. Wishful thinking. Good night, everybody.
Good night.